Hey, what's up you guys? BlackWingK here, and just a warning before we go into this video, if you are not caught up with the One Piece manga, then you should click away from this video right now. Even with the title, you should know. If you have not read chapter 1007, and if you do not know the character Kozuki Oden, click away because you will be spoiled. That's for all the One Piece fans, and for anybody that's into One Piece and, has not caught up yet, there will be spoilers. There will be spoilers, so click away while you have the time. Okay? You good? Alright, excellent. Let's move on. So the main topic I want to discuss today is what happened to Kozuki Oden. And I believe it's important to actually go back and address that. There's a lot of theories that came out after the latest chapter, chapter 1007, where, voila, we see Kozuki Oden at the end of the chapter and the Scabbards are like, what? Is this even real? Are we dead? Are we hallucinating? Which is one of the theories, which is pretty dark, and why would we see them in the afterlife? Why even... Anyway, before we even get to that, so what happened to Kozuki Oden? I think it's important that we address that, because there's also a lot of people that straight up believe he's come back from the dead. And I'm going to address why that would be a major problem for the One Piece story. So, what happened to Kozuki Oden? Well, if you couldn't tell by now already how I've been really addressing this, he's dead. Okay, let's make it clear. Kozuki Oden is dead. He's deceased. He was killed, executed by Orochi and Kaido. Right there. Boiled alive in a pot. Holding the Scabbards up, he let the Scabbards go, and he suffered his fate right there. He died. He's dead. So Oden is dead. Let's remember that, guys. Let's remember that. That's the main important thing that I want you guys to remember. Kozuki Oden is dead. So knowing that Kozuki Oden is dead, why would he appear at the end of chapter 1007? Right before the Scabbards? Why? There are a number of theories why this could be. Now, one of them, a lot of people want to believe this one, where is Catarina Devon. Now, a lot of people want to believe that it's Catarina because that would mean Blackbeard's coming to Wano. And now that's very exciting and all. It doesn't quite make sense how she just is going to be there. We've had, in the entirety of the Wano arc, we've had no hints that, a Blackbeard crew member would show up there. It just seems kind of random for them to appear now in a floating island. We're in New Onigashima right now, in a floating island, and now we get to see a Blackbeard character. People will probably draw at the hints that, there was like a silhouetted character that appeared before, before the island even went to the sky. Right at the start of the raid, there was somebody we saw like silhouetted. Maybe they think, oh, but that was probably her. It's probably her. They want Blackbeard to show up in Wano, but I think Blackbeard has other plans. Let's think back to what happened during the break, the break chapters we get in between. So where we learned that something happened to Sabo. Who knows what happened to that? Something involving Vivi and the Alabasta Kingdom. Something happened there. And Blackbeard is shown to have interest in something which he believes, like, hey, if the world government doesn't want it, then I'm gonna take it. I don't think that would involve Wano. I mean, if the world government didn't want it, and it's something that they've left alone, like, we have to think about it like this. Remember that Wano has been closed off from the entire world for a long time now. So why Blackbeard would decide that now is the time that he wants to take it because the world government doesn't want to take it? Why did he do it a year before? Maybe because there was other things he was preoccupied with, like he recently became a Yonko, that's something important to note. And then there was also the payback war with the remnants of the Whitebeard pirates versus the Blackbeard pirates. And I believe it was after that that he was recognized as a Yonko, one of the 4 Yonko. So there's a lot to, I can't just diminish, completely erase this theory. It could possibly be her, but the one thing that does not make sense is how Catarina would know the history of Wano. Now that's the one thing that it's just making me throw it away completely. As much as people want it to be her, as much as people want Blackbeard to show up, it can't be Catarina. Because how does she know all of Wano? There's a lot that don't add up here. We do know that Teach, he joined Whitebeard's crew, so he did get to meet Oden, only briefly. Oden doesn't even talk about him that much. He just says, oh, an orphan child, Whitebeard let him on the ship, that's it. We don't know how much Teach studied Oden back in the day, but remember that right after this, they meet Roger, and then Roger poaches, as it's, explained that Roger poached Oden from Whitebeard, and he went on his final voyage, so I don't think they had that much time together for him to study him, to know, like, yeah, his appearance. Yes, he gets his appearance down, but he doesn't know who Kinemon is. He doesn't know who Kyoshiro or Denjiro, you know, he doesn't know the relationship between the Scabbards and him and whatnot. He probably briefly told them, but it's like, it's hard to just pat down, you know, how his relationship is with the Scabbards unless you really get to meet, like us, as the viewer, we know very well how deeply connected the Scabbards and Oden are. It would be very hard to get that from just, you know, word of mouth of him telling you, like, oh yeah, this guy back there, he would tell you crazy stories occasionally, but you don't know them. So of course, that's why I'm thinking it can't be Catarina Devon. Like, how would she know the history? That's the only thing. So we're going to move on from that. Another popular theory is Kanjuro. So it's apparently that the Oden we saw at the end of chapter 1007 is that it's a Kanjuro ink clone. So that's also very popular, but there is a bit of an inconsistency with that theory as well. Believe it or not, yes. And that would lead me to the dialogue. So first of all, why are you appearing before the Scabbards as Oden, their dead lord, the lord that they want to avenge, you know, that they saw him, you know, they know he died, okay? So why would you appear to the Scabbards as the dead lord Oden? Now that got me thinking, the only possible thing that I could really see why he would appear to them in the form of Oden is if this story is going to get really dark now, where he's going to basically slaughter them all on the spot. But then that the other inconsistency is who then healed them. Now Kawamatsu earlier in that chapter, he did catch a glimpse of them, but he couldn't really tell who it was. But then he's like, but I kind of saw who it was, but it's like I've had to have been dreaming because it can't be possible. So that draws kind of to Toki. So you know, he wouldn't say that to like Onimaru. Like, why would you say that? Like, you saw Onimaru like a couple of days ago, so well, Gyukimaru, he doesn't know that Gyukimaru was the fox and whatnot. He didn't recognize that figure, because remember, Gyukimaru never really told Kawamatsu, like, hey, I'm your old friend, I'm the fox and whatnot. So maybe he could have said it for the fox, but it wouldn't make that much sense either. It's like, it wouldn't be that far-fetched if it were Onimaru and he saw Onimaru and thought it was a dream. Like, why did you have to think of this dream? Like, did you think that Onimaru was dead for some time? You know, so those parts are not really clicking to me. Also, I do want to add that I'm really adding more to these theories, of course. You know, like, I haven't read every single theory. I kind of just got the basic idea as to what people are saying. Catarina, Oden's alive, Fukurokuju. Now I've heard Tama's teapot as well. And, of course, Kanjuro's ink clone. And Onimaru, Hiyori. You know, I've got them all in my head right now. But I'm kind of just adding my own spin to it as I go along. Just want to put that out there. So to me, for it to be Kanjuro's ink clone, that would mean that this is going to get very dark. Because that means that he's not there to say sorry to them. Like, if he was there to say sorry to them, like, I know they kind of, like, beheaded him or they killed him. It made it seem like, you know, Kanjuro was dead. I still don't know, because that panel just happened so fast. You know, that was like, it panned over so fast. We saw Okiku crying and whatnot. I'm not sure it was because, you know, that she had to kill someone that she considered a friend for a long time, a fellow Scabbard. So there was a lot going on in those chapters back then. So I really don't know the status of Kanjuro. He's presumed dead right now, from what we know. But if Kanjuro appears to them, it's definitely not to say sorry, because he betrayed them. He had this plan a long time ago that they concocted with Orochi. He's not going to be feeling resentment, like, I'm sorry, guys, that I treated you this way. I didn't want to face you, like, you know, maybe like a sort of feeling of ashamed. Like, he's feeling ashamed of himself, so he can't show his own face to them. But why choose Oden? The only thing that would make sense for Kanjuro to choose Oden's appearance is because he wants to, like, you know, shock them real quick. Like, they don't believe their eyes, get close to them, and basically wipe them out. Which would be very, again, like I said, very dark. That's a dark twist. Having, you know, Kanjuro come there, like, back to life, basically, and killing off the rest of the Scabbards. And then maybe joining back to Orochi, who's probably, you know, again, we don't know his status either. He's presumed dead, but not confirmed dead, I guess you would say, by One Piece standards. It's very hard to, you know, confirm that a character is dead unless, you know, we get a whole showcase of it, right? But now let's go on to Onimaru. So I don't believe it's Onimaru either, for the same thing. So there's one important part that I also left out real quick that I kind of want to add to each of the theories again. So back with the Catarina, the dialogue. wow, you guys look like you've been through hell. It's been a long time. I knew that our paths would cross again. You've aged quite well. So that dialogue would not make sense with Catarina. Again, we don't have that information, how she would know the history of Wano to even know this and confront them. It wouldn't make sense for Kanjuro either, because think about it. That's like a big giveaway. Like, if it were Kanjuro, you're basically lying to them in their face because, remember, Kanjuro jumped from the past to the future with Kinemon, with Okiku, and Momonosuke, right? So they haven't aged a bit. So why would Oden say you've aged quite well? It's obviously not Oden, and it can't be Kanjuro because that's kind of like contradicting. Like, why would he come up with a lie like that? A blatant lie, because he came to the future with them. So obviously half of them haven't changed and half of them are, you know, much older. So, but he's looking directly at Kinemon's in the center and he's like, wow, you've aged quite well. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Why would he say that? When you died, they didn't change that much. Like, you know, your son is still a little kid, Oden, like, come on. So that it's very weird for Kanjuro to say that. So back to Onimaru, it would be weird for Onimaru to say that too, because now, I'll be honest, I haven't read back those chapters yet. I was planning to do so, especially, you know, when Onimaru, his backstory. It wasn't really shown that Onimaru knew of Oden and the Scabbards back then. We only really got introduced to Onimaru. If I'm wrong, please correct me, guys. I can get things wrong too. I'm not saying I'm 100% perfect with this, but my recollection tells me that Onimaru was first introduced right after, it was when Kawamatsu, it was during Kawamatsu's flashback, and how he, you know, back in the Snowy region before he got captured, you know, he was stealing food in the capital for himself, and, well, was it for himself or was it just for the fox, Onimaru, because Hiyori had just run away, so he was distraught, right? If I'm remembering correctly. It's coming back to me, guys. So Kawamatsu was distraught that Hiyori had run away from him, so in his panic he started searching for her, but could never find her. Then he ran into the fox. I could be getting it mixed up, so again, guys, correct me if I'm wrong. But it was then that he met Onimaru, and really he started to gather the weapons because he wanted to get things ready. I'm just giving you a vague recollection of that happening. So the main point that I'm trying to address is Onimaru was introduced only in Kawamatsu's flashback, so I don't ever see Kinemon you know, meeting with the fox. I've never seen Kanjuro meeting with the fox. I haven't seen any of these meeting with the fox. So it'd be weird for him to say, you know, you guys aged quite well. I mean, if it were the case that Onimaru did meet them at some point in their life, then it would make sense for him to say, you've aged quite well, because I literally haven't seen you guys in a long time, especially Kawamatsu, because, you know, he was sent to prison for like the long 20 years and whatnot. Was it 20 or 18 years? I don't remember how long exactly. Kawamatsu was free, then captured and sent to the prison in Udon. But yeah, so just a little bit. If it were Onimaru, just a little bit, if he says, you've aged quite well, because that would give the hint that he's met them in the past, but we've seen nothing of that. Like, Onimaru's flashback with Gyokimaru and Kawamatsu's flashback, they do not show that Onimaru has had interactions with the rest of the Scabbards. If I'm wrong, though, correct me, point me to the chapter and I'll reread it, okay? Another recent popular one that's come out was Tama's teapot. So I'm going to get to this one quickly, and I really won't have much to say about it because, again, this teapot, we haven't seen it in a long time. It was introduced at the very beginning. And I get that Oda does love to do like the double play with his words and whatnot. The chapter in Japanese was called, the raw translation, I guess you would say, was Tanuki-san, which we do choppers refer to a lot like that, you know, Tanuki, 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 and that's usually the running joke with that he just gets pissed off. He's like, I'm not a Tanuki, I'm a reindeer, rawr, you know, got a nice hit on Queen, a nice clean hit, blood spilling from him, but people are saying that he's probably doing a double play on this word because of the raccoon, and you know, Tanukis have the ability to also like transform into different people. That's another thing I wanted to add for Onimaru. It's not confirmed that Onimaru can turn into other people that he's seen, again, because we've never seen Onimaru and Oden together in the same place, you know, like not even in his flashback, not in the manga, and currently not in the anime. So it would be weird for that to happen. Also, just a quick a bit of information to add to Onimaru. So Onimaru is a fox. So in Japan, to my understanding, the legend with the fox is that they can take on an appearance of a human, right? But it's like the fox turns into its own version of like if he were a human. So Gyukimaru is literally Onimaru, like that. If he turned into a human, that's his human appearance. It's never shown that Onimaru can turn into other people, and according to that lore with the foxes in Japan, I don't think they can just turn into anyone else. It's always like their version of humanity that is projected as when they transform. I recently saw an anime, just to quickly reference from that one, it's called Canon. It's a really old anime that's based off a visual novel. So one of the arcs is a girl that eventually, falls in love with the main character. Her story arc is her falling in love with him, but then eventually they get sick because apparently when they use the ability to turn into a human, it shortens their lifespan. So eventually the human starts forgetting like speech, movement, and whatnot. That's just going in deep. That's spoilers for canon. I'm sorry if I ruined that for you, but it's a decade-old anime. So eventually the fox did die, and because they used the ability to turn into a human and it shortened their lifespan. So I'm not sure if that's directly, what happened to Gyukimaru. We never saw him again. He transformed back into a fox and he went into the distance. That to me felt almost like he kind of just passed. Like he finally fulfilled his mission. He waited for so long for Kawamatsu to come back and collect the weapons that he has collected for a long time in support of the raid. So to me, in my opinion, although it was never confirmed either, I had thought that Onimaru had died. When I saw the anime episode like a few months back, it didn't give me that implication anymore. So now I'm kind of left in the, out there. So back to Tama's teapot. I know I'm all over the place. I'm sorry. I'll probably put timestamps here to better help you understand where I'm going with this, but I usually tend to go all over the place. Again, I'm sorry. So Tama's teapot, I'm not too, I don't know. That's so random. Like, we saw that thing a long time ago. I don't know. I'm not really thinking of that. If that ends up being, the thing, again, my question would be, why Oden? And why appear as Oden, and why even use those dialogues? I don't know. It blows my mind. All right, let's backtrack a little bit. So a few chapters back, we saw a silhouette of somebody healing the Scabbards. So immediately, a lot of people thought Hiyori and Lady Toki. Okay, so my mind did not go there at all. Eventually, I kind of did see why they thought that, but my initial thought when I saw that chapter, that Friday morning, I thought it was Fukurokuju. Now, they silhouetted them to keep the identity hidden, so really, if it was Fukurokuju, they could have just shown him. I'm kind of going back to that. I'm like, wait, they could have just shown him, but remember, Fukurokuju kind of slipped away after Orochi died. Quote-unquote died. We still don't know that. So it's very strange, but Fukurokujo slipped away. We haven't seen him since. Currently, the Oniwabanchu has been, wiped out thanks to Hyogoro and the rest of the samurai. But, what happened to him? I was thinking, this is what I immediately thought. So I thought that was Fukurokuju. Now when we go back and we see Oden, I'm like, I think it could still be Fukurokuju. So remember this. Fukurokuju used to be allied with the Kozuki family. After the Kozuki family, now he was allied with Orochi. And after Orochi, then they went to ally with Kaido. So it's, he's been jumping families for a long time now. So Fukurokuju, he could have a devil fruit similar to Bon Clay's current devil fruit. The copy fruit, I guess it's called. I forget the name of it. But I'm saying it could be similar, but have different properties. So it's not, it's not completely, out there that two devil fruits would share the same properties. The only example I can come up with right now is Luffy's and Katakuri's. Remember, Luffy's is rubber, Katakuri's is mochi. They're different devil fruits, but they share the same property. So I was thinking, maybe Fukurokuju, he hasn't been confirmed to have a devil fruit, but maybe his devil fruit is, it'd be perfect for a ninja as well, a shinobi, to be able to transform into someone else and, covert, spy, the ops. So it's interesting. So if his devil fruit is something, it would be like the transformation jutsu. They all refer to their techniques as jutsus, right? We'd recently found out that Raizo's jutsu is actually a devil fruit, the scroll fruit, which was pretty overpowered if you ask me. He was actually able to take in Kaido's blast and send it back at him. That was amazing. Oh my god, I'm telling you, these devil fruits are amazing. So if Fukurokuju had a devil fruit, it's probably a transformation jutsu, but it have to be different. Like, I couldn't tell you right off the bat. That's really all that came to mind. Like, maybe he's using transformation jutsu. Their shinobi is not unthought of. You know, they're able to do the Kage no Bunshin, the shadow clone, or just clone jutsu. So, you know, the copy of themselves and whatnot. We've seen Raizo kind of do something like that. So it's not completely unheard of for there to be another devil fruit that kind of copies another person's image as well. But it'll be very different. So the problem I have with this one as well, again... why Oden? Why are you appearing before the Scabbards as their dead lord, Oden? And it would make sense if he does say to them, you've aged quite well because, again, Fukurokuju has been jumping families, so he's been disassociated with he knew about them, but Oden and the Scabbards, he hasn't really been in touch with them ever since he got with Orochi. And then, you know, after Orochi, then Kaido. So... it's not completely unheard of that he hasn't seen the Scabbards physically. Orochi knew because of, you know, his traitor, Kanjuro, the one he's been keeping in touch with. He knew they were alive, but they were completely under the radar, right? So Fukurokuju couldn't have possibly seen the Scabbards at any time. So that's why I kind of strongly feel it could have been Fukurokuju, you know, introduce him as a new devil fruit user, transform to them. So the other part would be, again, back to the Kanjuro thing, where I said that if he's appearing as Oden, it could be that he's ashamed to face them. Fukurokuju, you know, he had a close connection to the Kozuki family a long time ago, but then, you know, he left. So he could be feeling ashamed to appear before the Scabbards, someone that he was kind of close with. He's Raizo's rival as well, you know, that's something. But he could be ashamed to face them head on, you know, because after everything that's happened, the second you see Fukurokuju, they're going to see an enemy and they're going to attack. So maybe like to lower their guard, just like lower their hostility. It's going to shock them. But again, it just baffles me why choose Oden's appearance. They could have been any other character if he could do a transformation jutsu. But what are they trying to come across here by appearing before them as Oden? So... I feel strongly about the Fukurokuju theory, but not that much, again, because of everything that's happening. Alright, so let's wrap that up real quick so I can get to the next big topic I want to talk about. You know, everything that I can put in this video, I'm going to put it on there. So, we've talked about Catarina Devon and why it can't be her, and why, you know, it doesn't make sense to be her. We've talked about Kanjuro and the Ink Clone, and how it would be a very dark twist to the story if it were him. You know, that'd be pretty interesting. Like, maybe that'll be the tragedy of Wano. All the Scabbards actually dying, and that's it. The last words he got out to Luffy was, help me save this country, and, you know, that would be very sad. If they find out that the Scabbards are dead, it would be very, very sad, because, again, Hiyori said that she wanted to meet with them. Meet with her brother. Like, you know, she didn't want to join the battlefield because she didn't want to add any emotions and whatnot. That will distract them from the fight. So it's something that, you know, reunite at the end. But if they do end up dying, like, that's it. They don't see each other again. So that'd be very dark and sad, of course. So we've talked about Onimaru as well, and why I think it can't be him, because some things don't add up, like the history between Onimaru, the Scabbards, and Oden. We only know about Kawamatsu and Onimaru, so, I mean... we could have at least gotten little bits of hints that maybe Onimaru didn't know them as a personal, like, pet and whatnot. But, again, if I'm wrong, correct me. Again, correct me. You can quote me. You can say, like, okay, in this chapter we saw him, and that's why maybe it could be him. You know, let me know let me know in the comment down below, you know, where I'm wrong. You could correct me, and I could reread that part. You know, we even talked about the Tama teapot theory, which, again, that doesn't really, it doesn't sit too strong with me. I'd be very surprised if that actually ends up being the teapot, and I mean, you know, you have some explaining to do, like, why it's teapot, how did they know Oden, and whatnot, you know, you have a lot to fill in for that. And then finally, my favorite theory was Fukurokuju transformation jutsu, a devil fruit similar to Bon Clay's devil fruit, which used to be the old lady that, you know, gave Orochi the Yamato fruit, that snake fruit. The mythical zone fruit, right? So, it probably is devil fruit that's similar to that, the copy fruit. So now let's jump back a bit again. So, who healed the Scabbards? The popular ones, again, were Hiyori or Toki. And I said, hey, it could have been Fukurokuju as well. You know, it's all the earlobes. The second I saw that, I thought they were earlobes. I thought Fukurokuju, but you know, maybe it's not him. So I don't think it could be Hiyori who is here on the island right now, because it would be contradictory to what she said before. Like, she did not want to go with them on the raid because there would be too many emotions involved, and she did not want to distract them from the raid. So she would wait back on the island. You know, it's a nice thing to see because she's not a fighter. Like, she doesn't have a devil fruit as far as we know. So it's like, you know, some say that maybe she has Toki's devil fruit and whatnot. But then again, it's like, Toki's devil fruit was only useful to her as a way to include somebody from the story that came from like the Void Century or after like the events of the Void Century. That's how I feel that it was included. How she was included into the story. So Oden knew a lot. Like, Toki could have probably told them a lot of the things. Oden, you know, with Roger, found the One Piece. He knows the history of the world and whatnot. So a lot of that's included in the journal. So probably he has excerpts from there from what Toki told him. So like, okay, so this is what I found out when we found the One Piece. And this is what Toki told me, so everything is adding up. We need to open Wano. It's very important for the future of what's about to happen, what's about to come. So that's how I feel how Toki's character was introduced into the One Piece story. It's basically to have someone pass that information from somebody that came like literally right after the Void Century, after the events that happened there. Because it was about 800 years ago she said that she was born, from the time of the Oden flashback. So yeah, Toki coming in was purely just for information, meeting Oden finding the One Piece, and then he's basically putting two and two together. So like, this is lining up with what Toki told me. You know, that's how I feel. So it doesn't feel right for Hiyori to just show up, basically contradicting herself, saying that she didn't want to show up. And maybe she had like second thoughts, like, maybe if something goes wrong, I should probably go there and, you know, I'll be the healer. We don't know. We don't know if she has a devil fruit or not. That's not been confirmed, but I don't know. I feel like Hiyori would have been best to stay there, and after everything's over, they finally meet, and Hiyori and Momo finally meet. You know, a nice, touching reunion, like similar to the Rebecca and Kitos reunion that happened at the end. You know, in Dressrosa. So Rebecca and her father finally meeting again and whatnot. So touching, so emotional. I kind of want something like that again with Hiyori and Momo meeting at the end. Like, them meeting right now when everything's all chaotic. It would take away the emotion from that. Like, too many things are happening right now for that to happen. So, a lot of people feel that Toki is still alive. So, remember what I just said to you. I feel like Toki's inclusion to the story was purely just to have that information passed on to Oden. And then Oden writing that in his journal. So everything we need to know is in the full book of spoilers. It's in the book. It's in Oden's journal. So there is no reason for Oden to be alive and for Toki to be alive. All the information is right there. The devil fruit to me is useless. That's what I wanted to say earlier. Toki's devil fruit is useless. You can only jump forward into the future. Like, that's it. That's all you can do. What's the point of that? If you use the devil fruit to jump forward, I mean, we don't know how, like, what's the limit, or, you know, like how long you can jump into the future. Like, can you go as far as 1 day? Can you go as far as 100 years? Like, how far can you jump forward, and what's the frequency that you can do it? Like, maybe there's like a cooldown period, or you can freely use it however you want to. Some people are even going as far as to say that she awakened her devil fruit and she was able to pull him into the future, and then he's only gonna be there for a temporary time, then come back to the past and get killed. It doesn't make sense. I'm laughing because it's so ridiculous. I have my phone here, right? I've been screenshotting all these theories of people believing that Oden is alive, because it's really, they're gun-ho about this. That Oden is alive still, and oh my god. So that's my take on Toki not being alive. Is a popular theory. If she's alive, I mean, then go figure. I guess she's gonna add more information. I guess we're gonna learn about the devil fruits. They did say that we're gonna learn about what the One Piece could possibly be at the end of Wano. We're going to learn more about the origin of the devil fruits. You know, we're going to learn a lot at the end of Wano, basically. So, if Toki is alive, then go be it. You know, so be it. That's fine. But I feel like her fruit is useless, and she was only there to basically bring more information so that Oden could pass it on, put it in his journal, and it could go into the future unscathed. You know what I mean? So, thank you to Yamato. So, the final point I want to touch up on is going back to my main topic. Oh yeah, by the way, who I thought healed the Scabbards, I still think it was Fukurokuju. I don't know, like, I'm like, it's 50-50 for me. You know, that's my own theory. Maybe it's for Fukurokuju. He had a change of heart finally again, and he just wants to, you know, make amends. Like, he's like, yo, guys, I'm sorry. I know I betrayed you a long time ago. I left you for Orochi, and then I left Orochi for Kaido, and I just want to, you know, let's join forces. I want to help you guys out. Let's go clean up outside. Let's take this out, you know, because the whole thing that's kind of happening right now is Kaido is losing numbers, especially with the Smile Devil Fruit users, thanks to Tama, and now thanks to Chopper, a lot of the gifters and the pleasurers, so that's basically a large number of them. Eventually, I think what's going to be left is the Tobi Roppo, the commanders, and, you know, whoever else still wants to be in the enemy's team. So it's basically an overturn of enemies into allies. That's what's happening. That's really what needs to happen in order to turn this around. I know some people are probably thinking that the fleet is going to come into Wano. I don't think so. I think the fleet is really being saved for the final big war that's going to happen in the One Piece world. So, yeah. So, the final point I want to touch upon again is Oden. What happened to him? We know he's dead. And it's important for him that he stays dead because it will ruin everything that's been built up to the story. You don't know how much I've wanted to say this. I've already said this numerous times on posts on Facebook, online, on YouTube, in the comment sections. I keep saying this. People, you have to remember everything that we've built upon. When did we first meet Kinemon? Punk Hazard. That was literally Luffy and his crew entering the New World for the first time. This was the Yonko Saga, to finally reach that point and where the story would basically climax with the Yonko Saga, right? So, Kinemon was gathering the Scabbards. He needed to find his son. Bam. Well, his son, like he thought, you know, we thought it was a son at the first, but then he tells us, no, that's actually my son. He needed to find Momo. He didn't know where he was. Then he needed to reunite with Kanjuro. He knew he left him in Dressrosa, and perfect. It lined up with Law wanted to go there with his plan to take out, you know, Kaido. Everything was adding up. So bam, we go to Dressrosa, we find Kanjuro, then we needed to go to Zou because that's where Raizo was, and they needed to know if he was safe and whatnot, to finally tell them their plan of taking down Kaido. That's what they wanted to do, and it's like, bam, everything's coming together because that's what Law told us he wanted to do. Like, yo, Law said we're gonna go take down Kaido. Let's go to Wano. We're gonna take down Kaido. And then, you know, the whole Big Mom thing happened as well, but Luffy literally told Big Mom, like, yo, you gotta wait, Big Mom. I'm going to Wano right now. I'm going to go kick this guy's butt, and then I'm going to come after you. So I'm still thinking that Kaido will go down here, but Big Mom will be saved for later. I don't think both Yonkos are going to be taken down at the end of Wano. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent right now. So it is very important for Oden to be dead because that's really the driving motivation which gathered the Scabbards, Kinemon and the rest of the Scabbards. That's their driving motivation, to open the borders. That's what Oden told them. Right before he died, he says, you guys must go and open the borders of Wano. It's important we welcome him into the country in the future that is to come. Oden is dead. He left them with that mission. So, Oden being alive would ruin Yamato's story because Yamato was so inspired by Oden that she even cosplays as him. Like, you know, like, yeah, look at me. I'm Oden. Yeah, Momo, you're my son. It's like, whoa, this is getting weird. But yeah, it would ruin Yamato's character. Oden being alive. It would ruin the Scabbard story. And everything that's built up to this point, it would ruin all of that. Like, come on. Like, how do you do that? You can't just bring this character back to life or have him like, oh yeah, guys, I basically never died. So it's like, what? You let this country fall even deeper, and like, then what was the point of sending the Scabbards to the future? What was the point in doing all of this? Like, no, it would ruin a lot. And there would be a lot of explaining to do if Oden was really alive. Like, just think about that. Just think about the story. I know everybody's jumping the gun, and everybody's excited to see Oden again, and everybody wants Oden to be alive for whatever reason, but you have to remember, think about the story. It wouldn't make sense. It would ruin a lot. Guys, we've been reading this story for like over 20 years now. Come on. And we've been in this saga for like, what, almost 10 years now? Ever since, you know, we entered the New World and whatnot. So, everything that's been built up, it would ruin all of that. And again, like a lot of people are saying, the tension will be lowered as well because we know Oden is very strong. He was very strong at the point that when he died as well. So it's like, no. So Toki, final point is Toki. So I know a lot of people are probably thinking Toki's probably still alive, that she sent herself to the future, but I don't think she would go back on her words either. This is why I think Hiyori is still in the flower capital. She's still outside of Onigashima. And you know, now that Onigashima's in the air, you know, maybe it's time for us to see Hiyori again come back, but no, I don't think so. I don't think so. She said that she would wait on the island, and that's what I'm sticking with. She's staying on the island. Toki. I can't find you the direct chapter. I was actually trying to go back to read it, but there's a line that Toki says. People are grabbing the other one, thinking that Oden is alive, but no. Read the other part too. There's more context to this. It's not just people are seeing her ripping the paper and they're highlighting that, and Oden saying that he's not gonna die. Roger said that too. Okay, guys, you remember that? Did you read the same story I did? Roger also said, "Oh, I'm not gonna die." His spirit didn't die. The will that he passes on did not die. Everybody's taking it too literal when they said they're not gonna die. Like, I remember there was a theory saying that Roger's still alive back in Laugh Tale. He's just waiting for the next person to reach there. Like, I mean, he's not physically alive. His will didn't die, but he's dead. He's dead. That's what drove people into the golden age of the pirates and whatnot. You know, the grand pirate era to begin again. So, you know, Oden is dead. And Toki is also dead because she said that she's going to die there. She finally met someone she loves, and she would not send herself back into the future because Oden was kind of telling her, like, oh man, you know, I'm probably gonna die here, like I'm most likely I'm gonna die today, but you can go to the future, you know, you can do other stuff. And she's like, no, I'm gonna stay in this country. She always wanted to go to Wano, which is her heritage. Basically her roots came from Wano. So she says, no, I'm gonna stay here. Like, that's it. I finally came to the land that I've always wanted to come. I fell in love with you. We have kids and whatnot. I'm staying here and I'm dying here. That's her conviction. So for her to go back on that and send herself to the future anyway, after saying that she was going to stay, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me why she would go back on that. I felt that. Like, I felt that was her conviction. She gave the prophecy and that was it. Everything is in the journal. Everything is in the journal. Toki came from the past to the future to convey that information. Oden went with Roger to Laugh Tale, found the One Piece, and he has that information. But what does that become? That becomes the journal that Yamato has. That if Yamato gives that to Luffy, Luffy's gonna burn it, so we don't want that to happen. You know, because he doesn't want to know. He doesn't want to know. But that book, that journal, definitely has a lot of information. And maybe we'll get to see what's in the journal that Luffy doesn't necessarily have to see it. Somebody else could probably learn more about it. Maybe Robin? I don't know. But those are basically all of my raw thoughts on the events that happened in chapter 1007 and the latest chapters as well. Like, I really wanted to get my voice out there. So, I'm sorry if I felt like I was screaming a lot. I'm very passionate about this. I love One Piece so much, and it's really, I don't want to really crap on anybody's theories, okay? That's not what I'm here to do. Like, I should have put this at the beginning of the video, but oh well. My intention here was not to crap on anybody's theories. Like, no, you're stupid. Oden can't be alive. Get out of here. Kick to the face. Toki can't be alive, and all of those other theories. Only my theory is right. No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. Look, come down what happens in the next few chapters after this. Maybe we'll find out soon who this character is at the end, but I've said my piece. Why it cannot be Oden, it would ruin a lot. Why it cannot be Toki, it would ruin the character, how she was presented, and it would ruin her conviction. She says she wants to die there, and that's the bottom line. That's why the plan was. So if she's alive, why was she only, like, you know, there's a lot of inconsistencies with that, and I could just go on and on about it, but I've said my piece. Not the One Piece, but I've said my piece. So yeah, that's pretty much it. My raw thoughts on what happened in the manga chapter 1007. I hope you enjoyed this. I know I don't upload much on this channel, but I really hope you enjoyed. I'll probably keep doing more like this. If you enjoyed what I said, you know, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing as well. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. I've already said a lot. I will reply and I will, you know, consider it. Like I said, I'm not here to crap on anybody's theories, but we could talk about it, okay? I'm not here to kick you in the face and punch you and whatnot just because you came up with a theory, but I just want to remind you the story we're reading and parts of it that would make sense with the story, not just like, you know, Enel coming back as well. That theory was, that was a funny theory, okay? Enel coming back, oh, Enel come back and he's worried about the Scabbards. Oh my god, every time you see me laugh like that, it's just so ridiculous. That's a ridiculous theory, but I mean, like, Just think about everything that's happened to this point. Why would it be an L? That's all I'm telling you. That's all I'm telling you. So that's really all I want to leave you with. Again, let me know in the comments down below what you think. Add to me anything that I got wrong. Please correct me. It's good because I always try to go back to previous arcs and whatnot to reread certain chapters to keep up with the information in my head. I'm always thinking about One Piece. I'm always thinking about the theories and the possibilities of what could happen in the future. So again, let me know in the comments down below what you think. Let me know what your thoughts are on what I said. Let me know if I got anything wrong. Correct me. I always love it. Any criticism you got, I'll take it. Let me know. Like the video, subscribe, and let me know if you want to see more of me talking about One Piece. I could continue doing it. I just really don't have the most easiest way to do it and get it out to you in a timely manner, but I can do it. If I put my mind to it, and my heart to it, and my soul into it, I can do it. So yeah, guys, it's Blackwing K. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. So yeah, bye.